Previously on X-Men.
Here's Johnny.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, everyone? Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for tuning in to another great epic episode of Just My Opinion Reviews. I got my homie right here, Mr. Lamont Tyson with Get a Life Games to talk about this X-Men 97. Yes, it is going down. I cannot wait. This was a fantastic episode. This is Tolerance is Extinction, Part 3. The X-Men dream is put to the test as mutant humans relations reach a tipping point. Guys, if you did not know, this is going to be spoiler filled. Me and my homie right here, we're going to spoil this episode up, down, left, right, in, and out as if you've already seen it. That is your warning. But of course, I got to thank my guest here. I got to introduce him. Lamont, thank you so much for coming through, bro. I really do appreciate it. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me today. Also in the chat, let me know how I'm looking. Let me know how I'm sounding. Let me know if I'm Chris. Let me know if we're both are clear. But Lamont, let the good people know how you doing out there, man. How you doing?
I'm like Eddie Murphy. It's an honor to be here. I'm just happy to be here. I'm coming to America by coming to my boy's channel, and I'm ready to talk this X-Men talk. What a season. We are happy to have it back.
Yes. We are happy to have it back. And guys, if you did not know, of course, this is Lamont Tyson with Get a Life Gains. I will be putting a link to his YouTube channel in the description box below. It's not there now. I just honestly forgot. But look at this man. He is climbing on up there. Before you know it, he's going to be at 1 million subscribers. Right now, he is at 321,000, and that is a beautiful thing. See that we have 7-8 people watching right now. Hopefully, we have that many thumbs up. But let's go ahead and get into this, man. Lamont, I'm satisfied with this, man. When the episode ended, I was just like, wow, this is crazy. This is amazing. They stuck the landing. I can nitpick a few things here and there, and feel free. I want to hear some nitpicks from you too, if you have any at all. But if you thought this was the best thing since sliced butter and all that, you can say that as well. Because I know in our group chat, you had a nitpick or two about I think it was episode 7. When they was fighting the Prime Sentinels, and I actually agree with you as well. But I love the episode, man. I can go ahead and say with confidence right now, and that this is. I should say this for the end, but I just want to say it now. I think this is the best Disney Plus show that Marvel has ever put out. All better than She-Hulk, better than Loki season 1, Loki season 2, better than WandaVision, better than the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's better than them all. It's better than Miss Marvel. This is number one. And I know that this show X-Men 97 is not in the MCU. It's in its own kind of separate universe, and I do like that. I don't need it to be connected myself, but I can easily say this is in the top 5 of the whole MCU. Since Marvel Studios started their universe in 2008 with Iron Man. Since then, this is in the top 5, might as well be in the top 3, actually. I am thoroughly entertained by this, man, with all the cameos that we got in this. I mean, it just makes sense. Magneto turned the power off for the world, the entire planet. So it's going to make sense that it's going to have a reaction from everybody across the globe. And I thought they fit all these cameos in that we're going to go into detail with, or as much as you want to. I'm gonna let you have the floor, but just to see the reaction from all these cameos, man, across the globe, man, it got me smiling. And I didn't even need that in the show for this to be so good, for it to be so entertaining. That was just a bonus. If we still didn't get those, I still would have loved this show. But even though they gave us that, man, it was the icing, it was the cherry on top. It was that extra stocking stuffer at Christmas morning. I mean, man, this is easily better than, I'll even go as far as saying the original animated show in '92 when it actually first came out, man. And when it started, I know I'm just blabbering right now. When it started, I was like, how much more story do they have to tell? They told so much in this 10 episodes. And then we have so much more to look forward to in season 2, which is pretty much already done. Guys, if it wasn't obvious to you already, I love this show. I love this series. Hashtag rehire Bay DeMayo because he created something. This is just some of the best Marvel content that we've gotten the past 20 years, in my opinion. The floor is yours, my guy. What say you, man? What say you?
Wow, man, you said so much.
My bad.
Because it's so late, my brain ain't firing at 100 decibels a minute. Let me just say that I'll kind of go backwards, and maybe it'll jog my memory from things you said. First of all, everybody, you can super chat this man during off hours. Okay, he is one of the hardest working people on YouTube. Talking about my brother B Avery over there. So you can super chat him anytime. You don't got to do it during the live. You can leave him a super chat in the comments. You can do that on YouTube now. So go ahead and get that popping off because
Thank you, sir.
there is a large contagion of us black folk that like comics. We like comic stories and we're not biased. We like good comic stories no matter where they come from. And we need more of us talking about it to give us the kind of perspectives we can see. So shout out to this man, send him some super chat.
Thank you.
Bo DeMayo, I reached out to him because of the scripts I'm doing. Hopefully I get a call back. Hopefully I get a meeting because I see some great things that can happen. I love kind of the way he took these things in the cartoon, and I think that he could do something really, really good on the big screen. So let's see if we can get him back. B. Avery mentioned a great point. They're pretty much done with season 2, and they are thinking about trying to make it where we get 2 seasons a year. From what I read, they already done been renewed for season 4 and are planning on getting those knocked out so that next year we get 2 more seasons, which would be great. With all the storyline that they have with the X-Men, you literally could do 15, 20 seasons and it always feels fresh. I think that this series, even though it's not canon to the MCU, this series gave us a template of what can be done on the screen now that Marvel has all those characters. They gave us a template.
Yes.
They gave us storyline that can involve conflict with Omega level mutants like Magneto, who has a righteous cause, kind of similar to Thanos, and those are the type of villains you can get behind. I portray Professor X and Magneto's relationship because a lot of times, a lot of us black folks think that the mutants is really us. It's just they couldn't come out and say that. Professor X and Magneto is Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. One is saying we all need to get along. One is saying might over fight. And that dynamic, I kind of feel like the comic book stole that from those two a little bit.
Of course.
But yeah. But it played out on screen pretty well. And I have to agree with B. Avery. Of all the things Marvel has done on Disney Plus, B. Avery, what's my limit on cuss words?
No, try not to do any F bombs or the P word. Other than that, you know, go ahead. It's late night, so I'm not gonna be tripping too much.
Okay. Well, Lamont After Dark. This shit was the best thing going.
Yeah,
Period.
there you go.
Period. Like that. I like some of those Disney Plus shows, and I know some people's argument, B. Avery, to us would be it's apples to oranges. Something is live TV, something is animation. Great. Whenever somebody says that to me, you can't compare apples and oranges. Damn it, you like one of the fruit better than the other one. You like one of the two fruits better than the other one. This was way more entertaining. I even feel like the storylines was better in this than what we got on the live action stuff. So this is definitely the best thing. Rotten Tomatoes has said that this has gotten the highest rating of all the Disney Plus shows. So I am completely in agreement with what B. Avery is saying. I loved all the cameos. I love how they stuck the landing with the perfect mix of cliffhanger, but letting us know what is going on for the next season. And so, having said those things, B, I give you the floor back. Um, the series for me was spot on almost entirely through the whole thing, except for maybe one or two episodes in the middle. It got a little wonky, but was still entertaining. And then when you look back at what those episodes were setting up for the end, it makes it all come together. So I really enjoyed it. And for me, X-Men back in the day is what got me into comics in the first place.
Right on. And I'm pretty confident in saying that your comic book knowledge is deeper than mine. I read a few comics here and there, but most of my comic knowledge comes from the 90s animated cartoons and, movies and things of that nature. But leading
That's
up to
most
the.
of mine too. It's
Okay.
minus. That's most of mine too. Minus four or five comic book series that I read.
Gotcha.
But and that was after I found X-Men. I went back and started looking at that stuff after I found X-Men.
Okay. 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 I think the animated series was one of the first Marvel properties that I've ever learned about. But the reason why I want to get your 2 cents on this. Leading up to this final episode, I heard all of the experts saying, "Oh, we're going to get Onslaught. We're going to get Onslaught. We're going to get Onslaught." And I've seen him before. I remember seeing Onslaught back in the day on Marvel vs. Capcom, on Sega Dreamcast, and all of that stuff. I just knew that he was a powerful mofo, kind of had the powers of both Charles Xavier and Magneto. So at the very beginning of this, where it starts out to where it's way back in the day, and I'm thinking this is a blast from the past, to where Eric and Charles are getting to know each other, not wanting to spill the beans that they're mutants. I think that we're back in the past, but no, they are just in the mind of Magneto, and I love how all that played out. I love the transition. I love seeing how their friendship started off. To me, it was just beautiful, and how they were playing each other. They knew what was up, but Charles, he took the risk and went ahead and exposed like, hey, I'm a mutant. But I just really like that bond that they had, and then transitioned over to like, oh, okay, this is not a blast from the past. You're in my mind right now. And it was like, hey, man, I need you to turn the planet back on. If you don't, I'm going to have to hack your mind and do it myself. That whole sequence right there, the animation of the wind blowing and all of the X-Men trying to hold their ground and not be blown back against the wall. And then the camera panning around Charles and Magneto as they're flying into the air with the beams coming out of his head and Magneto screaming at the top of his lungs, Charles, please. Because you normally don't ever just hear Magneto crying out like that because, he's a bad mother jammer. You know what I'm saying? So to see him in that type of condition is just giving me all of these emotions in comic book lore and action and just all types of badassery that I'm not used to, that I'm liking. My point that I'm getting to is at this point in time, even though I don't know that much about Onslaught, I knew that we were getting Onslaught. But what I like about this episode is that we still did not get him at the very end of this episode. That's something else that we can look forward to in the future, whether that's season 3, season 4, season 9, whatever. So I love the fact that it was leading in that direction. It seemed like it was predictable, like it was inevitable. But now the writers, the creators, was like, you know what? We just gonna give you a little taste, but we're gonna save that, the main course a little bit later on. And then we ended up getting the, apocalypse, but we could talk about that, towards the end of this broadcast. But I really did like that at the very beginning of this episode. I thought that that's where we was heading, but that's not where we ended up. What say you? What's your opinion on that? Your knowledge on Onslaught, if any at all? How did you feel about that?
So as I was just telling you in the audience, I fell in love with comics because of X-Men the animated series, which had me reading the X-Men comics. And Onslaught popped in. X-Men Volume 2 came out sometime like 96 or something like that. And basically the way it played out in the series is kind of what happened in the comic. Charles had to go and warp Magneto's mind, and while he's warping his mind, all the deep, dark thoughts that Magneto kept suppressed wound up taking over, kind of the way the Phoenix Force is endowed inside of Jean, and she's always having to fight it, like me having to fight off the urge to eat Twinkies. That thing came out and took over Xavier's mind, and it combined them to have a creature that has Xavier's telekinesis, which is the most powerful on the planet, along with Magneto's ability to control magnetism.
Yeah.
You picture that and think about the people that they had to get to fight this. That storyline wind up leading into X-Men versus the Avengers. That was one of the catapulting moments for that particular storyline. So what B. Avery is saying is true. They can save that for year number 6, and that can lead us into the X-Men versus the Avengers. You already seen Cap, you already seen Iron Man, and you seen T'Challa in this episode. And I was glad, B, that they didn't go there. I think they made Sebastian's new form kind of look a little bit like Onslaught, minus the color. But I was glad they didn't go there now. But folks, as I said in the beginning, with so much story to tell, we could legitimately get this show, not get tired of it, for at least 15 seasons.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And that was actually, I'm glad you brought up Bastion, because that was the next thing I was going to ask you. Because I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to start. I didn't know who Bastion was when he first popped up at the end of episode 5 or 6 or whenever it was. But I was like, damn, you got Magneto held up, you know what I'm saying, shaving his face with the collar on. Okay, you must be pretty badass, you know. And I like the way they start. I like his introduction. I thought he was a badass villain. I liked his design. I liked his power up as well. I do have a little nitpick that we can get to when he rips off Cable's arm. You know, I'll just go ahead and say it now. Why did Storm and Jean and them, she had just turned into the Phoenix, watch him beat his ass like that? And I was like, Storm, blast him with the lightning. You're free now. You know what I'm saying? Why are y'all just standing there? But I don't know. You jump in there. Go ahead with your little.
You need to give us a whole segment on nitpicks. Now, people, just because we have nitpicks does not mean that we didn't enjoy it and think that this thing is a top show.
Yeah.
That's not what. That just means little things that if we was to go hand a script to a producer or an executive at a show, they never going to tell you your script is perfect. They're going to have nitpicks. But do they wind up making your show? Hell yeah, they do. So you need to have a segment at the end where we say nitpicks, because I got a few too.
Yeah. But I thought Bastion was a badass though. And I like the voice acting. He was clearly effed up in the head, but I thought he was a pretty decent villain. You know, great villains always think that they're right, and from his perspective, he did. You know, he's hurt. But what did you think about him, man? Did you like him? Did you hate him? You thought he was mediocre? You know, did you think he was a worthy foe? How did you feel about Bastion?
He was a worthy foe. I think what's got me tongue twisted, I don't know how to say this, but now they did a good job. I'm kind of tired of them fighting.
Okay.
I'm kind of tired of people fighting robots. And they did a good job. But when I first saw who it was, I wasn't that excited. But the way they transitioned him through the story and to the end, I was happy with it. I was happy with it because when I used to watch the X-Men, most of the time when I would watch the reruns, the majority of their story was fighting the Sentinels in the Sentinel program. And so I kind of wanted to see something different, but I'm glad that they did the story the way they did it because they put a new spin on who was trying to control the Sentinels. Then we got these IP Sentinels that he converted from human beings. And I think they told a good story. And now we don't have to really worry about the Sentinel program anymore for a long time.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not mad at you for feeling that way. You don't want them just fighting Sentinels over and over and over again. But I'll give them credit because they did look different, and the Sentinels were taken out at towards the very beginning of this episode. Mind you, that this is the longest episode. It was 42 minutes opposed to like 32, 33 minutes. So I did like that. A lot of that is because, you know, we got so much, you know, heart-to-heart moments between Charles and Magneto. But, you know, Jean turning into the Phoenix temporarily and taking the Sentinels out, I thought that was great. But what I also, the Russo brothers kind of dropped the ball with this as far in the Infinity War and Endgame, as far as all of the characters showing all of their abilities and giving 100% when they're fighting their enemy. For example, they didn't know what to do with the Hulk. He didn't power up one time in either film. They didn't know what to do with Vision. So in 2018's Infinity War, he got stabbed by that spear. He's a powerful character, but they had to handicap him. My point is that I want to see material to where all of the characters, all of the Avengers, or all of the X-Men are at full power fighting the enemy all at one time. We did not get that in this episode, in this finale, but they wrote it in a way that made sense. They had the team separated. They had blue team and gold team. While they were fighting and also while they was fighting Bastion in space, who was somebody that could have took him out immediately or helped a whole bunch? Magneto, but he was incapacitated. He was in a coma. You know what I'm saying? Great reason, great way to write it to come up with an excuse to where you can have all of your beloved characters at full powers fighting at once. And so you have to have a good reason to do that. And I think they did. Let me grab this super chat right here from Mr. JoJo. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. $4.99. If only we get Spider-Man 97, we would be back on pointing for anime. This is true. This is true. Disney needs to bring that guy back. Just FYI, Cable is stronger than you think. I do agree with you, JoJo. And thank you so much for the super chat, my guy. I really do appreciate it. And about that, we got Spider-Man a couple of episodes ago, Lamont, but we also got him in this episode. He wasn't in the Spider-Man costume, but he was towards the end of the episode standing in front of the TV with Mary Jane. Did you notice that?
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that, man. I enjoyed all the little Easter eggs they snuck in there. They had Magneto's kids in there on the boat with Rogue when
Quicksilver.
They had the T'Challa one really had me going, and that was
T'Chaka.
They had the gray hair and everything going, and we even saw Mr. Fantastic up in this piece. They even had the fight on the moon where Apocalypse kept a home at, and they showed you kind of his face a little bit on that moon where Rogue was just giving it to Bastion like she was the Incredible Rogue Hulk.
Yeah.
So hey, they did a good job of weaving in cameos without making it about cameos.
Exactly. Of course, we got Silver Samurai. He came back. We also got Daredevil. We also got Cloak and Dagger. We also got, of course, Iron Man and Captain America. This is the first time we got Iron Man, but we got Captain America a few episodes ago too. Who else? Doctor Strange was in the hospital.
Yep.
You notice he had a candle up trying to do surgery with a candlelight because Magneto turned the power off. We got Omega Red and Crimson Dynamo, and I don't know who that was in the back. We got Psylocke and Alpha Flight too in this too.
You got all the Alpha Flight. In the end, did you catch the scene where Professor Xavier was trying? Well, it wasn't in the end. It was close to the end. Professor Xavier was trying to find Emma Frost and her team, and she locked the door the same way she did back when they had the Phoenix Saga back in '97. I was like, wow. And on that big board at the end with Bishop, did you see that? Did you see some of the mutants that was missing?
Yeah. Scarlet Witch was up there.
Yeah.
Archangel was up there.
Yeah. It was giving me Avengers Infinity War or Avengers Endgame start feeling. Like we done lost our friends in time somewhere. We've got to start finding, we got to keep this team together. And I was a little upset that Bishop got missing because Bishop is a total badass. He is. Just like Cable is a badass. And them two, they've had their little wars in the comics where they fight, they kind of get into it with each other, but then they wind up helping each other out in a major way. And so I look forward to what they're going to do next season. I'm completely excited, and I think that we've got so much more great story to tell. I'm here for it.
Yeah, bro, we haven't
I'm
even.
thinking
Yeah,
we need to review it.
yeah, I'm down. I'm down. We haven't even scratched the surface, and it's interesting you said it because about Bishop and Forge because Bishop is a badass character, and we didn't get to see him that much in this season. He was sent to the future. He
Nope.
came back now, but not only did he come back in this episode, Lamont, it looks like he's going to be one of the main driving forces in season 2, hunting for the X-Men, not just by himself, but with Forge. So that makes me happy because we get 2 black characters that look like they're going to save the day. That's going to be teaming up back to back. That's smart, that's strong, that's badass. I'm with it. I was already loving the show. But then if season 2, you're going to have 2 black leads or whatever, like, hey, man, we got to go save the day. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, bro,
you get no complaints over here.
and Forge is really about that life because he's in love with Aurora.
Yeah. Storm powered up too. Yeah. So
He is about that life.
yeah, man. I'm here for all of it, man. I am here for all of it. I'm here for all of it. How did you feel about Sinister, man? And let me know. Is he ever going to be a threat again? Because it seemed like Jean Phoenix seemed like she took everything away from this guy and more. It seemed like he don't have nothing left. He's been alive for hundreds of thousands of years. Expert geneticist, stealing all of this DNA from these mutants to soup him up. But she just snatched all that away. Like, come on, man. She said duct taping yourself together. No more, enough. And he sent him crying off in the corner. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's my mommy? You think I like Sinister in this, man, especially the episode before this when he was fighting Jean 101. But what you think about Sinister, man? And you think he ever gonna come back and be, excuse me, a worthy threat, or we pretty much done with him? Where you at on that?
The next time we see him, it's going to be on the big screen because there are a lot of people out there that love Sinister. I mean, he's just okay to me. I guess one of my nitpicks is if Jean with the Phoenix Force is so powerful, she can just take DNA out of people. Hell, she can do that with any bad mutant she wants to do.
Yeah.
Hell, she could have legitimately stripped Sebastian piece by piece if she wanted to, and hiding him down. He was done.
Are you still there?
I thought it was funny when she stripped the DNA, the DNA out of Sinister, and Sinister was more worried about the way he looked.
Yeah.
So he wanted more to show him what he looked like,
right.
And then he wandered away.
Yeah.
It's not the end of Sinister, because unless she stripped that mind he has and his ability to live for all these years, he's going to be the same.
Right. I also like. I don't know if I want to use the word handicapped, but you made a good point to where if Jean Phoenix can just strip away the powers from everybody at her own will, she can just do that to any mutant. I like the fact that I don't think that she can, because she doesn't have full control over the power of the Phoenix. And if I'm wrong, you guys politely let me know, because I mean, I like powerful characters, but I don't want them just to be OP all the time. Hulk, of course, we all know is strong as hell, but he don't got control over it. If Hulk had control over, his powers and the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets, man, I mean, that would be badass for a little bit, but it would get boring. So I do like the fact that, I keep saying I want to say Storm, that Jean did go all out, but at the same time, she just can't control that at her own will. So that's just something else that I really did appreciate there as far as the writing is concerned. You agree or disagree?
They didn't have a choice. A lot of our nitpick is the writers having to do things creatively so that people aren't OP or so that people aren't completely thrashed in 3 minutes. Think about what they always do with Batman when he's having to have a battle with space creatures, stuff like that.
Yeah.
His ass just disappear for a few minutes trying to figure something out, because he really can't get into a fight. And they kind of done that in this episode too, like you said. Magneto could have came out and he could have hamstrung Bastion. He could have,
Right.
but he was unconscious. Jean, when she had the Phoenix Force, she could have ripped Bastion limb from limb if she wanted to. She could have stripped him of everything, but she did. She went after the person that terrorized her the most, and she stripped him, which was Sinister.
Yeah.
Because Sinister terrorized her sister, her alter ego, and her. And so, and he was messing with the family in Cable. So she really made sure she hurt him, and just kind of, I guess she felt like she incapacitated Sebastian for a minute, enough that she felt like the other X-Men could handle it, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah. Georgia, I think it's safe to say that Phoenix is more stronger than Scarlet Witch at full power.
Yeah. Remember in our chats we had this debate, I don't know when it was. And who was it? One tape Big Dog trying to tell me I ain't know what I was talking about.
I don't remember.
Or Larry or somebody was like, Lamont, no. I'm like, dude, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop.
How long do you think it's gonna take Wolverine to heal? And also another question: does he ever get his metal back? And if he does, is it adamantium? Is it vibranium? And again, he was out of the fight too. Of course, I'm happy that he wasn't like, "Oh, that hurt," but I'm better now. I like that he was over there passed out, man. Even with his rapid healing, that's just stakes right there. I don't want people dying and coming back to life the next episode. I like the fact that we still think that Gambit is dead too. Stakes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, how you feel about Wolverine, man? And how long you think it's gonna take him to heal, if at all?
Oh, he's going to heal because he is the most popular X-Men character out there. He is their Superman. Yeah. And I've got jokes about that because it's a quagmire for me. I joke about why do we like him so much? It's because he wear a clown suit and he talks real gruff. And if I'm being honest, his crazy ass suit is what got me watching the X-Men. I wanted to know, what did this guy do? Like, I got to figure out, what does this guy do? And so he's going to be back, and they could legitimately take the story be down the adamantium road. They can take it down the vibranium road. In the comics, of course, he gets his adamantium back, but they could go down the road of vibranium because he has had one or two run-ins with Wakanda.
Yeah. That would be interesting. I don't know. I mean, I've heard of the story. I've heard of the story of him getting his adamantium ripped out of him, and I've heard people speculate like, oh, he would be better if he had vibranium because the adamantium is poisoning his body 24/7, but he's also healing himself at the same time. So how much badass would he be if he had vibranium? And I'm just like, man, that would be crazy right there. So,
and Magneto couldn't magnetize him.
You can't. Why? It's still a metal, right?
It don't work. In the comics, it ain't work like that on vibranium, my buddy. I guess.
Okay.
The vibranium, I guess because vibranium, whatever is in it, the way they tell the story, it vibrates.
Yeah.
So that's why they're able to go through metal detectors and stuff like that without it making a noise. Yeah. You send Wolverine with adamantium through a metal detector, bing, 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 bing. Yeah. But not if you got vibranium.
I got you. You a big fan of Sunspot, Roberto? The abandoned child from his mother that she turned his back on him. He got his leg back a little bit. In this episode, seemed like he powered up. Another nitpick that I'm thinking about that I'm going to throw at you too. I don't know how Jubilee was able to breathe in space, but he did when he went and saved her. I can give it to Rogue and I can give it to Sunspot, because it's the sun.
I can't even give it to Rogue. I can't even give it to Rogue.
Okay.
I can't even get Rogue was the first. I was like, when Rogue started being able to breathe in space, does she really have 70% of Captain Marvel's power or something, because
Yeah,
like you
yeah,
ain't supposed to be able to breathe in space.
yeah,
And
yeah.
she was out there giving it to Sebastian
Yeah, she
in
was. It
space.
was nice. Had that little thunderclap and all that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but what's your thoughts on Sunspot, man? He represented a little bit though, besides the breathing in space and all that. But what you think?
Lukewarm for me. I like that they gave Jubilee more storyline than what they did in the old series,
Hmm.
and that it seems like she was a compliment to his storyline. But you take him away from the story, and it doesn't bother me one bit.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, I guess you. That's kind of true for me. I wouldn't lose a minute of sleep, if he was gone. But I do appreciate his character. I don't hate him. He's a nice new additional character. Because you want to switch it up, you want to add, things here and there. So that's cool right there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not tripping too much on that. That's perfectly fine.
I
So
just want to know, like, what are the limits? What are the limits and ranges of his power?
yeah.
That's what I would like to know. I don't really know.
I don't either. Can he get as hot as the sun? And there's these are because
Yeah.
if he can, that's pretty badass. That would make a lot of sense. Let's see.
Can he supernovae? Can he
Yeah,
supernovae?
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah. Beast. What you think of what you think of Beast in here, man? What you think of Beast?
they portrayed him perfectly. They had him quoting Shakespeare and all that smart stuff. Now, in terms of his strength, he got beat up a lot. Like they really beat him up from the physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint, and just kind of like the his day to day banter. I liked it. I felt like it portrayed Beast pretty well. I
I
didn't like
got
him
you.
getting beat up so much, but um, I think they portrayed the character pretty well.
I got you. I got you. We were just talking about how Rogue was really giving it to Bastion, man, and everybody was. Even Jubilee got in there and messed up his face, because she gets a lot of crap. And I like that she addressed it too. Like, oh, what are you going to do? Slay me with the 4th of July? Oh, I haven't heard that before. Bob, weave, blasted his face, turned it into mush. I was like, okay, Jubilee, with your leg back. She said, I ain't no little punk over here. Okay, I'll mess you up too.
Right,
Don't sleep on me, Bastion. Don't sleep on
right.
me. And yeah, she messed him up, man. So shout out to Jubilee. But I gotta say, man, the way that they was using the powers in here, man, with Nightcrawler teleporting back and forth, bing, bing, bing. I like that. Bastion caught him one good time and about to kill him, but then Jubilee and Cyclops blasted him. I like that right there. A great use and display of the powers and the abilities, and the way that Cyclops was dodging those blows and throwing them shots and kicking and the punching and the flipping and the somersaults. And then the beam struggle that they had. You'll never hurt my family again. Ah! Lamont, I was cheering, man, like I was at a basketball game on the front row. Like, real talk. It was amazing, man. Like, how did you feel about that? Or what was another standout moment of action that I haven't brought up yet, if any at all?
Um, Even in that fight with Cyclops and Sebastian, he still didn't go full out with his beam. He
Yeah.
did he did that at the end when they was trying to blow up the they was trying to blow up the thing.
Asteroid M.
Is
Yeah.
when he took the glasses off, that's when he went full Cyclops. And the thing about Cyclops that some people don't know, he derives the power for his beams from the sun. So the fact that he's in outer space out and he's getting all those rays from the sun without an atmosphere to block it up, I would expect him to be blasting beams that can destroy some mofo,
Yeah.
like for real. And I think that if there's anything I've learned from reading the comments, reading articles about what people loved about this series, that they dialed back Wolverine, who I told you is the favorite character. They dialed back Wolverine and they kind of put a greater art on Cyclops. And a lot of people are clamoring for Cyclops because they did him greasy in all the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
And and a lot of people didn't even know Bishop was his son. They didn't know that.
I didn't either.
And now that you've got all this story out, and in the comics how Apocalypse not Bishop, I'm sorry, Cable. How Cable was used by Apocalypse and how that sparked something in Cyclops. And then Cyclops' daddy from space had to come down and help. I think that we're going to start to see him become one of the more popular in the crew. And especially if you turn Cyclops loose and let him use those I-beams the way he can use them, hey, you're going to be selling his toys a whole lot more too. So I was happy with the way they used him and Jean Grey. And I was happy with the way the relationship with their kids went. I was happy that when they thought they was going to die, they had that
psychic connection. Yeah.
Psychic cell phone call with
I love that. I love that.
Said you have your daddy's eyes.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Was like, man,
yeah,
man, that was crazy.
It really was, man. Because I was always giving Cable a hard time. Like, why are you such an asshole to Scott? Like, I know he sent you to the future, but he had a good reason to do it. But we finally got some exposition from his point of view. It's like, man, I grew up in this age, and I would hear all of these glorious stories about the X-Men and how they gave us hope. I should have been part of those stories. And I was like, damn, okay, I kind of see where you're coming from now. So that was a beautiful heart-to-heart moment right there, man. I didn't cry, but, it was still wonderful. It just goes to the writing of the show,
Bruh, it was fantastic. Like, a lot of people complain about exposition. The exposition in this show was well-timed, very in-depth, and it didn't feel shoehorned. It felt perfectly timed to go with the action and the momentum of everything that had been set up for the whole series. So kudos, man. This was perfect.
Yeah, they thought about pretty much everything except for Jubilee breathing in space and just a little
and Rogue breathing in space.
How now? Something I do disagree with, and hopefully they're not like. Hopefully victims across the world will try to emulate this. Is Cyclops is like, we don't need to fight the future no more. We need to embrace it. Bastion, come join our team. Join us. I'm like, no, this dude is a psychopath. Okay, y'all need to chop his head off and mail 50 pieces to each area of space. Like, he needs to die. You don't need to be trying to recruit him and see an X-Man. Bastion dang near cussed him out too. He's like, I just tried to destroy y'all and now you're trying to recruit me. I'm like, yeah, Bastion, I'm agreeing with you. I don't like that, basically, is what I'm getting at. I don't like that they was trying to hold hands and be care bears at the end. No. Blast his ass away to smithereens. Am I tripping or where you at on that? This kumbaya that Cyclops was trying to do. He's a monster.
I thought that was stupid too. But it was kind of like payback because he could have been one of the original X-Men. Speaking of Sebastian, he could have been one of the original X-Men. And think of the art they put Cyclops on. They had Cyclops on an art where he went from kind of with the vision of Professor X, kumbaya everybody, to things get ripped away from him to the point where he's almost like, I'm ready to go kill some MFers. And then with Professor X coming back and with where they ended up at the very end, he's kind of back to the leader that Professor X picked. And instead of trying to destroy this guy, he wants to try to help him. And that's what Professor X would have did. However, dude, this man just tried not only to destroy the Earth, he ripped off your son's arm and used the virus metal himself. He put your wife and your psychological connected wife through hellfire and brimstone with sinners. And then he's up here trying to kill you and the team now, and you think we're supposed to pal around and be buddies? Psych, no, no. Even Professor X, even Professor X, when it was time to make Magneto do, he made him do it.
Yeah,
he made him do it.
I agree. I agree. We got another super chat right here from Q Archie. Thank you so much. How did Xavier get Magneto helmet off his head? Yeah, I noticed that at the very beginning as well. I don't know. That's a good question. I think you're talking about the very beginning of the episode. I think, well, let me think about it. Magneto was holding it on Xavier's head with his powers. And then Wolverine stabbed him in the back, which really hurt. So I'm thinking through that right there, he lost focus and, maybe Xavier was able to pull it off his head, because he just got stabbed. Also, that's another thing, man. I know Magneto is strong as hell, but, he did get stabbed by Wolverine, and it seemed like those wounds went away at the very beginning of this. Maybe because he was unconscious, I don't know. But Q Archie, thank you so much for the super chat. I do appreciate it. Hopefully that possibly answers your question. But Lamar, we're pretty much at the end right now, man. They did the Magneto protocol. King T'Chaka, Iron Man, Captain America was like, no, don't do it. And a lot of people are upset right now that it was T'Chaka instead of T'Challa, saying that messes up the continuity with all of the other 90s animated series, and we can make a whole nother video on that. But they get teleported away. Some of the X-Men are in the future. Some are in the past. Some, we don't know where they're at. We don't know what happened to Morph. We don't know what happened to Wolverine. We don't know what happened to Storm. Cyclops and Jean are in the future with, I forgot her name, and Nathan, and everybody else is in the past with Ob Sabanur, Apocalypse. And then, Lamont, we go to present day in the post-credit scene, and it is Apocalypse in present day. And he has something in his hand. He has a card. Mm-hmm. And they are speculating that is going to be Gambit coming back to life as one of the four horsemen. What say you, bro, with this ending and Apocalypse everywhere and the X-Men split? It's been 6 months, Lamont. 6 months. And they don't know what the hell is going on. Neither do I. Before you answer that, another super chat from JoJo. It's great to see you share tears doing X-Men brand. You're funny. I didn't share no tears, but almost did. But thank you for that. But yeah, man, what you got on this ending, Lamont? With Apocalypse, X-Men scattered across time. How you feeling about that, sir?
I like it. Now there is a part of me that is it's a small nitpick. Okay. I'm tired of like the time jumping and the multiverse. There's a part of me but I get it's the comic. This is the way you can bring people back to life. This is the way you can renew heroes that you felt like have fell apart. But I'm comfortable with them doing it with Apocalypse because his story is so long. I think some people consider him the first mutant. Yeah. He's like the god of mutants, that whole thing. And it's hard to get rid of him. Like, I don't even think he can be killed. Yeah. Like, he's one of those guys, you have to teleport him somewhere because you can't really get rid of him. And so to see that they got a group of team fighting Apocalypse in the future and some in the past when he was just getting started, it's going to make for great TV. Then it's going to make for great TV the teams that go looking for them, and when they finally meet up with whichever group they meet, that they have to go tell them, or they find out that there's another team in the past. So I think that it's going to make for great TV. How are they going to get Gambit back to being the X-Men? And I think that when it all's said and done, we're going to learn that Gambit never died. Before he died, he probably got sucked into a void and became a horseman for Apocalypse. And I think it's going to make a great story. I'm here for it, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm here for it too, man. I'm here for it too. But guys, to wrap this up, X-Men 97, I loved it, man. I just thought this was fantastic. Yeah. Other than the nitpicks that I named, I really don't have any complaints. But y'all, this is X-Men 97, Tolerance's Extinction Part 3. And of course, I will be back for season 2 or season 7, however you want to explain it. But this was damn near perfect for me. And I loved it. And it sucks that it's over with. I'm not going to be waking up at 2, 3 in the morning next week to watch it. I'll be able to get some more sleep. but I'm gonna miss my X-Man. I'm gonna miss my X-Man. Lamont, before we head out of here, man, what are your final thoughts? And also, want you to let the good people know what you got going on your lovely channel as well.
Love the series. Give it a watch, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't. Let us know what you think. Be sure to super chat my man B Avery 24/7 because you don't have to live stream. What's going on in my channel? There is a wonderful, phenomenal show that came on AMC called Parish. It stars John Carlito Esposito. Highly recommend you watch it. I'm probably going to get a review up for that. I'm going live on my channel at lunchtime, Monday through Thursday, most days. And we're doing reviews for The Shy. We're doing Black entertainment news and more, which is covering relationships, what's going on in entertainment in terms of movies and TV shows. And we do a little tech talk because the living legend joins the show. So be sure to come check me out for that and come check out a review I'm going to be doing for The Shy on Friday.
Right on, right on, right on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we just both want to thank you so much for tuning in. And is this another super chat that we got? Hold on, real quick. I was about to miss it. Let me make sure. Hold on. Is this am I tripping? Okay, no, I'm not. JoJo says, now from here on out, any anime that comes out needs to be on this level of high. Agreed. They need to get the live action on this level too. Yes, JoJo. Yes, I agree with that. Thank you so much for that super chat, my brother. But yeah, let's go ahead and head out of here, guys. But guys, again, we just want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that I'm B. Avery, that's Lamont, and that's just our opinion. Peace out, and we'll see you next time.
Canvas.
Previously on X-Men.